There's a new virus on a ship, and it's coming from the rats.
You've probably seen it all over the news today, but a Dutch cruise ship in South America right now, that departed from Argentina basically, has a HANTAVIRUS outbreak. So what's the HANTAVIRUS? First of all, HANTAVIRUS is a virus that is usually transferred through rat feces in urine and saliva, or rodent feces. It's particularly very common in South America, in that region. There is 6 passengers on this cruise ship that are currently infected with the virus. Well, 3 of them are dead now, actually.
This is how Russia and China literally influenced all of Europe and all of US with the most insane complex psyops ever. Pushed out on social media with tons of bots, all from Pakistan, of course. But they bought these like bot farms, and what they did is each part of the United States got different informations. Let's say it's half true, half false. So like Florida learned something that's half true, half false. Tesla beat earnings, revenue up 16% year over year. Google beat earnings, revenue up 22% year over year. Meta beat earnings. Microsoft beat earnings. Amazon beat earnings. Apple beat earnings 17% year over year. Why did some of them sell off? I do want to talk about GameStop. You guys saw what's happening to GameStop?
Does this CEO think he's Mark Zuckerberg or something? Does he think he's fucking Jeff Bezos? He thinks he could throw around all this big money and
Did you see him get roasted on every stock?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, so how are you guys going to pay for it? Half stock, half cash. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Take, breaking down what's happening around the world in the markets and in crypto.
And if you like being informed about this kind of stuff, please consider subscribing to our channel. And if you do watch our content and you're not sure if you're subscribed, please double check. A lot goes into making these videos, and we get super motivated when we see that people are interested. So yeah, thank you.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of The Market Take. We're officially in May. The date is May 4th. We just came off a monster earnings weekend that we have a lot of details to cover. So as usual, let's get started with some world news first. What's going on, Justin?
What's up? All right, guys, just to recap. Yes, last week we talked about Spirit Airlines on their final strings of survival, and now their time has come. Spirit Airlines is no more. They have ceased operations 2 days ago, leaving thousands of passengers stranded. Okay, so what now, right? 17,000 Spirit employees lost their jobs overnight. I did not know. I thought it was going to be around 14,000, 17,000. That's a lot, dude. That's a lot. 810,000 passengers that had tickets in disarray, not knowing what to do. However, airlines like American Airlines, Delta, United, Southwest, JetBlue have stepped in and offered rescue fares for Spirit customers, giving them special prices to kind of match what they paid with Spirit in order to get them from point A to point B. Now, that doesn't guarantee a return flight. I think in some cases it does. But, man, this is kind of crazy. 34 years in business.
Are they offering that for people who have proof of a Spirit ticket, or can anyone just find those rates?
No, they need to show proof. They need to show actual proof of like a Spirit ticket at checkout or however they do it. But you definitely do need proof, 1,000%. And there is a time frame on them. So what that time frame is, it's case by case basis, and it's airline by airline basis. But yeah, I mean, total disruption. Okay, I mean.
Do you think the oil surge price was kind of the final thing in the coffin? Because you remember a couple market takes ago, we were talking about how Spirit was selling off terminal gates, right? You go to some airports, United is like the main airport. It's got like 40 gates. And, some airports have like a lot of gates for Delta. Spirit was selling off gates because every airline has to pay for those gates, and those gates cost a lot. So they were... I think they sold off 2 like major hubs in Atlanta, 2 major gates, and they sold off their only international gates that they had. They sold off a lot of gates, but I guess it just wasn't enough, huh?
Yeah, not enough. It's just, listen, they had like an egregious amount of debt, like insane amount of debt. The government bailout, like we said last week, would have bought them maybe like a few months. But just structurally, that airline has always had a problem. For how they ran for 34 years is beyond me. But they did pioneer the budget air travel kind of game. However, I think we're starting to see a ripple effect into the other budget airlines because Frontier and Avilo are requesting a $2.5 billion aid package from the government right now. And I think they're starting to find themselves in similar territory. Not exactly, but they're starting to hurt as well. Yeah, I mean,
I'm just curious. At what moment can I get a government bailout for my companies? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, you could have during COVID, PPP.
Oh, I mean, I got that, but that really wasn't a bailout. I was still paying people.
Yeah. True.
But I'm just curious, like, at what moment can be like, oh, you know what, Stock and Lock's not doing so well. I need a $1 million government injection.
Yeah,
that's weird. I don't remember saying I want to bail out these companies with my tax dollars. That's weird.
What is little Annie and her bakery down the street going to do when they're feeling the squeeze? You think they could contact Trump? Hey, I need a bailout. So why should we get some poorly ran airline bailed out? It's whatever. But me and Blast were talking about this yesterday too. What this means for like the other major airlines, right? Like this is a market share grab. So you're going to see, obviously, like the big airlines like American. If you guys saw our weekly trade in our newsletter today and in our free Discord, American Airlines was the trade of the week. And you could bet your rare behind that these airlines are going to be bidding for more routes, and they're going to be absorbing hundreds of thousands of customers from Spirit. So you could only assume how those stocks could possibly perform. But yeah, I mean, that's, one thing to take from it, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Guys, just quick little interruption. I know a lot of us are in some crypto trades. If you look at the daily candle that just opened up, they all opened. All the trades that were in, the daily candles opened higher than the closing candles yesterday. Very, very good sign for us. Let's go back to the world news, though. Yeah, man, it would be interesting to see what airlines start to kind of go that budget route. United was one of the more like inexpensive airlines. Now they're on par with like Delta, which is one of the reasons why I switched to United. Well, also because Delta changed their reward plan for like 1 year and made it like everyone leave. And then they're like, oh, never mind. That was dumb. But everyone who already had all those points got screwed. But United started going up in prices like crazy. It's pretty on par with Delta, and United used to be one of the more inexpensive ones. So
yeah, I remember that.
It'll be nice to see what happens. And instead, like right now, it's crazy that you can, like, with Delta and United, you pay significantly more for whether it be economy or first class if it's a newer plane. So maybe instead of just having people pay more for the newer planes, maybe put those like budget tickets into the older planes.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I'm sure there's going to be some kind of, unless they go back to the old times where there's no budget flying at all, and traveling becomes a extreme luxury nowadays. But to me, on a side note, it's kind of worrisome to see like major airlines fail. To be honest, Spirit it was Spirit's fault in a lot of the cases, but like this was a gigantic airline, nonetheless. And then to think about, to think of it like other airlines, that are starting to struggle a little bit is kind of it's very telling on like what's happening right now. Do you remember in COVID how the airlines reacted when nobody was flying?
They dropped price like crazy.
Yeah. What was like the, how were the companies like structurally doing?
Oh man, I don't think I could give you an accurate answer on how they were doing fundamentally.
Yeah. Yeah, but they do. I mean, the stocks were
Yeah.
at all-time lows for sure. I
Yeah.
remember that. But I'm sure.
But I mean, at the same time too, dude, we've seen airlines also rise and get bigger. Etihad, the UAE one, has gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Sky Emirates is taking on more flights now, more like international flights. Qatar Airlines, I think, has stayed relatively the same, but some of these other airlines have been growing, and I swear in the last I almost feel like we've gotten more newer airline companies in the last decade.
Possibly. I know.
Unless I'm tripping.
I don't know. It's they're not called Concorde. What do they call it? It's that European airline that's relatively new with the stripes, the stripe plane.
Shit, I don't know.
Chad, do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's only in Europe, but it's actually a pretty decent airline, and they've gotten pretty big over the years.
It's not SAS, right?
No. It starts with a C. I think it's called Concourse or something. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know.
It's not what is it? Ryanair or Etihad Air or
No,
all
it's not
those other
Ryanair.
Crazy ass ones that you flew on the way back.
No, I flew.
This guy had fucking 58 flights on the way back from Denmark.
Oh my God, Iceland. I have no desire to go there. I don't know. The airport's so I don't even know. The airport was just really isolated from everything, it seemed like, because I was looking out the window and there was literally nothing around me for miles and miles and miles and miles.
Well, looks like the travel sector is going to keep getting hit. Now there's a new virus on a ship, and it's coming from the rats. It's coming from Takashi 69.
So what Arthur's talking about, guys, you've probably seen it all over the news today, but a Dutch cruise ship that's in South America right now, from basically that departed from Argentina, basically, has a HANTAVIRUS outbreak. So what's the HANTAVIRUS? First of all, HANTAVIRUS is a virus that is usually transferred through rat feces and urine and saliva, or rodent feces, and it's particularly very common in South America, in that region. Well, I don't want to say common, but that's where it's kind of like found the most, right? So there is 6 passengers on this cruise ship that are currently infected with the virus. Well, 3 of them are dead now, actually, and one's in intensive care, and the other 2 are on lockdown. Now, you might ask yourself, well, is there rats on the boat or something like that? There's no confirmed sightings or cases of rats being on the boat. But however, I can imagine that these people, where the ship came from in Argentina, that when these people were in Argentina, they probably came in contact with something that had rodent feces on it or rat feces on it and got ill like that. Now, the interesting part about this is usually it's not transferable from human to human, but in this region of the world that they are, and there is a mutated version of the virus where it is. Now, so it's very contagious. The WHO organization, the World Health Organization, has stepped in. The ship has been docked at some cape near in that area, and now it's on quarantine.
Yeah. Did you see that one of the reasons why it is spreading, because they're saying that it's in pulmonary form, which basically means that it's in the lungs.
Yeah.
So people are hacking it up, and that's probably how it's spreading. And
that's what I forgot to mention. Like the symptoms that you guys get from this is like what hantavirus does. It's a severe respiratory infection. So you're coughing, you're spitting, you're hacking, right? So when you're coughing, it's going to be in those aerosol droplets that you're coughing out, and then someone's going to breathe it in, or somebody's going to touch their face, whatever the case may be. But that's how it gets you. You start off with a headache for a week or two, like a pretty bad headache for a week or two, and then you get a fever, and then it starts going into your lungs, and it's pretty severe. So this is something that I think they need to nip in the butt very quickly. I hope it doesn't turn into something like we used to see in the past, like not COVID, but like the Ebola scare. They say the mortality rate on the hantavirus is around 40%, so you have a 40% chance of dying from it if you get it. Ebola's mortality rate was 70%, a lot more severe, or 70, 80. It was like really, really high. Mm-hmm. But this is definitely something not to shrug off.
Someone's playing with rats.
Yeah, I mean, ugh.
You think this is something they try to spin up and make worse, or do you think this is just kind of where it ends?
I don't know, dude. Like, here's how I'm looking at it, right? We have a lot of things that the U.S. citizens are hyper focused on right now. Whether that being super critical of the war that's going on, being super critical of the Epstein files going on, or being super critical of aliens going on, right? So, when stuff like this pops up, I've always got that in the back of my head. I wonder if they try to, really, blow this, really out of proportion, take everybody's minds off of that. Because when it comes to something like this, and they turn it into a do or die moment, like they did with COVID, like they did with Ebola, your mind's on nothing else. Psyop.
Oh man, did you look at this Sonrine Psyop?
When you text me that, I went to his YouTube channel. I didn't see it on there.
It's not, dude. It's a completely separate series. It's not on his normal channel. It's the same thing on Spotify. It's a completely separate series, not on his channel.
What's up?
It's insanely edited, bro. Dude, the first day that I played it, I was walking outside alone, and I had my AirPods in with the air suppression mode or whatever. Noise
cancellation.
Yeah. Bro, I swear to God, all my hairs were standing up because some parts of it were creeping me out, and I kept, because of the sound effects, they play really good eerie sound effects. I kept looking over my back. I'm like, who the hell's following me? Because I just felt like people were spying on me.
PTSD inducing.
Talking about crazy psyops and how basically we've been in a psyop war for 40, 50 years, and China and Russia are playing the insane slow game, all the way down to the TikTok algo is completely different in the US than it is in China. And then the content that China gets fed is so drastically different. And they did the study just last year where they took what youth wants to aspire to be in the U.S. Guess what the number one highest voted profession in the U.S. was?
Content creator.
Influencer, yeah.
Yeah.
Guess what the number one voted profession is in China right now?
Doctor.
Astronaut.
Wow.
That's what kids are aspiring to be.
It's brainwash.
You remember 20 years ago we wanted to be doctors, astronauts, athletes, that. Now it's I want to dance on TikTok and shake my ass and say ooh woo and shit like that. Yeah. And say dumb shit like that, dude. Because bro, it's talk about the slowest game ever, right? Mm-hmm. How do you take down a population? You make them weaker, you make them incapable, you lower their testosterone, you make it seem like being a man is the worst thing to do, so the men stop stepping up, and you show them doom scrolling stuff, and you show them to be a fucking twink, and then versus you show algos of actually doing stuff in profession dude, you guys all have to listen to that series. It is bonkers.
No, dude, 100%. It's brain if you guys don't think brainwashing is real, or if you don't think brainwashing is real, if you don't think MK Ultra wasn't real or still active, then you're sadly mistaken.
You're brainwashed.
This is a grand mass scheme scale thing of how to control society, like Arthur was saying, because the days of forcefully coming into a country and trying to take it over it's implausible.
It's too archaic and barbarian.
Yeah, you have to. You have to do it. You have to do it in a gradual and an effective way, and that's through consumption. Whether that be the media that gets put out, whether the food, like people forget about the food that you ingest. The food's making us weaker. It's making us die quicker. It's, it's hindering us. It's not making us live longer. Like these are all parts of hindering a society.
You go to other countries, and I've been to a lot. You don't see an organic section in the market. The shit is just organic.
Yeah, everything's organic, But yeah, I mean, it's all. This is what we call systemic. It's called a systemic takeover.
It's the demoralization of a population.
Like it's running in the background. Like you don't realize it because it's just like I said, it's running in the background, and it's on autopilot, and you're just accustomed to it.
Here's what I learned on that series, and the best way that I could relate it into easiest terms is, you guys all know the telephone game, right? Someone starts, whispers something to the other person's ear, and then by the time it gets to like the 10th or 11th person, it sounds completely different, but some facts are still true. So this is how Russia and China literally influenced all of Europe and all of US with the most insane complex psyops ever. Is they pushed out on social media with tons of bots, all from Pakistan, of course. But they bought these like bot farms, and what they did is each part of the United States got different informations. Let's say it's half true, half false. So like Florida learned something that's half true, half false. New York learned something that's half true, half false. Texas learned something that's half true, half false. California learned something that's half true, half false. And then like Oregon learned something that's half true, half false. And then what happens is, because it's half true, half false, it creates this spider web where people genuinely believe, no, this is the fact that is true and this is the fact that is not true. But other parts of the continent or the world have opposing views, and then they have bilateral views, and that's what creates the arguments online. It is the most insane shit that I ever learned.
Do you remember when we were in Europe when I was talking about how like your algorithm takes you down a different path than other people?
100%, yeah.
In terms of like your reality. So you have a bunch of people, like thousands of people, all in different realities of what they think is real and not real.
Right.
It's chaotic. It's dude. It shakes me to my core. And I got another hot take too. Like I might get a lot of flack for it, but I think the peptide game
is a big one of the biggest
bullshit psyop in the freaking world right now. I think it's poisoning us.
You know what's crazy? Well, I have mixed views, but no one that I know that is selling it or talking about it, and I've used it myself.
Yeah.
But you know me, I've also used anabolic steroids 10 years ago, but I did my research. Like, I know the shit that I'm injecting into my body. People are not reading the fact that if you take BPC 157, yes, it increases your cells' recovery. It also increases your cancer cells. Every human being has cancer cells in their body. It's how your body reacts to the cancer is if you get sick or get treated with cancer. BPC 157 speeds up cancer cells in your body, so does TB 500. So if you guys are injecting this shit and not researching and not doing your fucking blood work, you're literally killing yourself. You have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
Shout out Diary of a CEO.
Oh no! But I started peptides way before that stuff, and I did my research way before that stuff. But yeah, they barely talk about the cancer stuff in that.
I just remember seeing it from that. I was like, dang.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true for sure. Like that too.
And then more stuff with the whole like cell phone privacy, psyops, this and that. Is Congress is trying to pass the surveillance law?
They're trying to pass the surveillance bill. They've been trying to do this since 2024. But, I don't know if you remember, but do you remember Edward Snowden?
Duh, he's in Russia.
And and his whole NSA thing, this is when like NSA had like insane overreach, right? Basically like
I almost feel like they still do.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, I think we're in surveillance right now.
Yeah, I think that's
like
like, we should 100% go over the topic, but it's kind of funny. It's like, dude, like, we all know, like, we literally say, I like Oreos, and you open up Instagram, and then the ad is Oreos.
We're definitely being surveyed. But on a judicial level, though, there is some semantics that we need to be aware of. Guys, Congress is trying to pass a bill. But I don't think the Senate wants it to go any further. But Congress is trying to pass a bill where they are allowed warrantless surveilling on you, meaning you don't need a warrant to get bugged, like your house bugged or your phone bugged or wiretapped in that case. If you guys don't know, there's actually like a pretty lengthy process in order for that to happen to you from a government agency to intervene on your life. Now, why is this like, why is this like a bad thing? I mean, it's happening to you every day still, right? Like we were just talking about, like your phone, your laptops, everything's listening to you, right?
I'm literally waiting to see the Oreo ad because I know it's coming. I want Oreos. I wish there was an Oreo coupon. Like
I was talking about BBL bandits earlier, and I got, I went on my reel, and there was nothing but BBL women on there, right? And I was talking to somebody through text, right? And then I open up my Instagram, and it's just reels of girls with gigantic BBLs.
That might just be your algo, bro.
it was clean before, but I don't know what happened. But yeah. Anyways, it's just this is just blatant. Like, you're not gonna have any privacy if this passes. I don't think it's gonna pass, but like, yeah, I just wanted to touch on. It's a small thing. It's a small topic right now, so there's not too much to dive into it. But I think everybody should be aware. Did you know Apple, though, is like super like anti law, well, not anti-law enforcement, but like super like anti-government agency? Like
are they though?
Yeah, bro. Like they on the regular like tell like the feds to basically fuck off like every day.
You know who doesn't? Meta.
Oh, yeah.
They were all over that Sean Ryan thing. How they allowed this stuff, and they knew it was going on.
Yeah.
They all knew it was going on. There's like there's a few whistleblowers on the series that came from Facebook and literally said, like, we knew this was going on. We didn't stop it. We knew that misinformation from our own country was coming. We knew misinformation from Russia was coming. We knew misinformation from China was coming, and we did nothing about it.
Yeah. No, I heard about that too. But yeah, guys, in other news, I mean, dude, should we go into stocks? We're kind of like half an hour in already, or should I cover this real quick?
Let's go to stocks. But I will say, for that privacy thing, the Republicans did attach a vote a permanent ban on the federal digital currency, the CBDCs, to the surveillance bill. I don't know if they're going to say that. It was basically dead on arrival when they introduced the CBDCs, but I wonder if this is maybe a way that they say, oh, like, your CBDCs won't be monitored, so invest in that. But CBDCs have always been garbage.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into stocks, guys. We have a decent chunk to cover. Is this that? That JP Morgan scandal?
Dude, that's actually kind of crazy, though.
That's hilarious. I don't think it's true, but
it's not true. That guy's a total piece of shit.
You think he just made up?
Bro,
some
he
shit?
lied. No, it's confirmed. Like
it's confirmed.
Yeah, like he lied, bro. Should I just cover it? I'll cover it real quick.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
guys,
be fast on stocks.
I'll be fast on this. But guys, if you recently, a former JP Morgan employee tried suing his former boss and JP Morgan for sexual harassment in the workplace. And the claims that he was making were just like super insane. Like, there's some that are listed on here that I read that are not on here. But basically,
come here, my little brown Arab toy boy.
I was gonna hold on. Yeah, I got to be very careful. I'm probably not gonna repeat a lot of this. Yeah, I mean, basically, his name is Kirau Rana, an Indian fella. He filed a lawsuit saying that his boss sexually harassed him, and the claims that he said that she did were crazy. By the way, this lady, Miss Hujdini, right? Miss Hujdini, that's her name. We'll call her Miss Hujdini. Very good-looking woman.
Okay, I wouldn't say very good looking, but every dude with 2 shots would hit.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good-looking woman, stallion, in my words.
I think the finance aspect adds 2 points too.
Yeah, but he was saying like the stuff in the lawsuit too. He was saying stuff like, one time she approached me and told me if you don't suck my toes, and if you don't suck my toes and like eat my you know what, you could kiss your promotion goodbye, and stuff like that. And basically like just like, there was times where he said she like pinned him up against a corner and like would like choke him, slap him, and say all this racist stuff to him and call him like her sex slave and stuff like that, and saying that this like went on for like for months and months.
I already know the hook for one of the reels that we're gonna pick, but she also said, and we can bleep this out in the edit, but she also said, if you don't fuck my brains out tonight, I'm going to sabotage your promotion. I fucking own you.
Yeah. But yeah, so why is this guy a piece of shit? Well, JP Morgan did their own investigation, their own extensive investigation, went through both her phones too, and they found nothing. They said it was completely fabricated. It was not real. And the reason why I call this guy just an absolute piece of shit is because I guess before this, right, get this, this guy faked his own father's death to secure extended paid leave and bereavement time. But come to find out, his dad was unaware of this. He's still alive. Like this guy, this guy, he like basically ruined this girl's life for like.
It went so viral, dude.
Yeah, he ruined this.
So viral.
He ruined this girl's life for like a few days. Thankfully, like people don't believe this guy anymore, and her reputation's I think is recovering at least, or back to like, normal. But dude, the TikToks I was seeing of this, right, like. Respected lawyers, like law firms, commenting on the case, with their like own professional opinion, saying, "Oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen," and them not doing their own due diligence is kind of worrisome. And this all came from the Daily Mail, from an unverified source that they got it from, and they just ran with it.
Dude, that is the other huge thing that's wrong with social media is everybody's waiting for that gotcha moment and then spills a story and doesn't do any research about it. They just want that gotcha story, and they want to say that they were the first one to report it. They're right, yada, yada, yada. And So, lawsuits dropped. The story was completely fabricated by him. He's the one that actually sent the story to Daily Mail. And, he's just a piece of shit. Like you wouldn't expect anything else from him. Just trying to shake down a multi-million-dollar company, trying to, game the system, this and that. He should go to prison, to be honest. I think one more. I'm just gonna speed around the last two things in the world news. One, I'm just gonna say, AI beats ER doctors on diagnoses from Harvard.
And it was ChatGPT that did it.
And it was ChatGPT, but the reason why I'm saying that is because we're gonna get into AI with the stock stuff right now. But also, guys, this one's huge for me. And might be huge for anybody that owned a business, ran a business. But we all might be owed big refunds for between January 2020 to May 2023. Like I submitted all of my tax returns probably like a year ago, a year and a half ago now, and definitely had some penalties and stuff. But that whole like 2 years after COVID was kind of insane. But they're saying that a lot of the penalties and interest charges could have been improper. So, guys, if you owned a business, you paid a lot of taxes. If you filed taxes late, If you have any penalties on your taxes from May 2020 to May 2023, please talk to your tax professionals, guys. You might not owe as much as you think. And you guys also have to do this before July 10th.
Yeah.
So soon.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah. So, guys, let's get into stocks and why I briefly said that hardware thing. So, if you guys remember, what we talked about a lot was CapEx. Everyone remembers what CapEx is, right? CapEx is what a company decides to spend on future innovation to make the company better, right? So, let's recap earnings, guys. Tesla beat earnings, revenue up 16% year over year. Google beat earnings, revenue up 22% year over year. Meta beat earnings 33% year over year. Microsoft beat earnings 18% year over year. Amazon beat earnings 17% year over year. Apple beat earnings 17% year over year. Now, why did some of them spike? Why did some of them sell off? We will get into that. So, guys, 84% of the companies in the S&P 500 reported that they beat estimates. That's the highest since Q2 in 2021. Don't get excited yet. Combined for the CapEx for the big guys, for the Big Mac 7, combined they're spending $725 billion, which is up from $670 billion going into earnings. So before earnings, they were projecting 670. After the earnings calls were done, they bumped that up even more from 670 to $725 billion in CapEx spend for the big ones. So $750 billion all going to AI infrastructure. Now, the S&P 500 hit new stocks, right, rallying 15% from the low. And this is the highest net profit margin for the S&P 500 in 15 plus years at 13%. So let's dissect Google, who is obviously the clear winner out of all of them. So Google cloud revenue accelerated from 48% to 63% growth, guys. And then their backlog nearly doubled to $460 billion. And Google is competing very aggressively with Tesla with their Waymo, guys. Waymo hit 500,000 autonomous rides per week. It's more than Tessie.
Yeah, okay. Google's got the juice.
Gemini's AI is processing 16 billion tokens per minute.
Gemini's AI? Oh,
I'm sorry, Google's AI Gemini
is
processing 16 billion tokens per minute. They raised the CapEx guidance on the call, saying we're going to invest even more. The stock flew. It's right now the gold standard for the AI. It's beating Microsoft. Google is the gold standard right now for AI.
I can see that.
It makes me wonder, are they going to buy Claude? Now, on the other hand, right, we talked about Meta crushing ad revenue, record ads revenue, and we said that Meta was going to be another one of the big CapEx spends. But surprisingly enough, and this was to my surprise as well, because I thought Meta was going to react differently. Meta and Tesla both got punished for spending. So they both beat their earnings. They both raised CapEx guidance significantly. So maybe that's why, because before the earnings call, they were projecting around 125 billion. On the earnings call, they said 145 billion. So they raised it by about 20 billion, literally on the call. Meta stock dropped 6%. And then Tesla's CFO said CapEx will be topped out at 25 billion, which is up from the 20 billion guidance. So they went from 20 billion to 25 billion. So they pumped up their spending 25%. And Tesla also dropped 3.6%. So everyone beat earnings, but it all came down to what the CapEx was. And that's pretty much what we said. And Tim Cook is stepping down from Apple. We knew that. CEO was good. The market actually liked Tim Cook stepping down because I think we've all said this, that Tim Cook we haven't really seen anything new and innovative.
It became stale.
It became stale. The button changed. The UI came stale. Didn't see any updates. And I still want to throw my goddamn phone across the wall when I type on Siri voice and it can't understand a damn thing that I say. And I'll be slurring to Claude, not making any sense. It makes zero mistakes. Dude, I'm literally fucking like telling Siri what's 52 times 8. It's Tennessee. I asked you a math question, bro. What the fuck? It's so bad. So the stock market like that. We're going to have to bleep a lot because I'm cursing a lot today. Amazon, as we thought, absolutely crushed it. Web services grew 28%. AWS is still a monster for cloud storage, really competing with Google. They crushed their earnings estimate by like $2 billion. And then they, it's Amazon. And then Amazon also announced a $25 billion investment with Anthropic. You guys know Anthropic owns Claude. So let me go over what this means for the market and talk about the two wild cards, all right? So the bull case for earnings, guys. Well, S&P 500 just hit new all-time highs at 7,220. It's a blended growth rate of 27%, which is the highest since Q2 of 2021, like we talked about. Analysts are forecasting 21 to 23% earnings growth for the rest of 2026. So they're still projecting a lot more earnings growth for the rest of the year. Morgan Stanley is saying that the bull market cycle still has room to run, and they're estimating that the S&P 500 can hit 7,500, so 750 on the SPY ETF, and that the AI productivity wave hasn't even hit the broader market just yet. And basically what they're saying is that based off the earnings and based on the AI productivity, we could see another huge technology super cycle like we saw at the end of the dot-com bubble. Guys, the bear case, though, is this rally is super concentrated. About 45% of the recent rally is driven by those 5 stocks. Let me say that again. 45% of the rally is caused by those 5 stocks. So it's super concentrated, right? Now, the market breathed. Yeah, it's said like that, breath with a D.
Yeah.
And I'll explain what that is the market breadth is under 50%, meaning that fewer than half of all the stocks are participating in the rally. And then the CAPE ratio, which is very similar to profit to earnings, is near 35 to 37x, guys. So just to put it into perspective, when we had the dot-com bubble, we were at 18x. We're at 35 to 37x. Analysts are estimating that 18% of earnings growth for the full 2026 year are more than double the 10-year trailing average of 8.4%. And a very, very, very smart person, I was listening to his podcast as well. This guy runs a hedge fund. We all know that the most quote unquote bulletproof strategy is invest in the S&P 500, look away, you'll be bulletproof. Well, that's over 100 years. What they're saying is that if you start investing heavily into the S&P 500 now in the next 1 to 2 years, your 10-year history might not have returns because of how overinflated we are. So, scary.
So what do we do, man?
Well, I'll tell you. So the straight is also a big factor in this because if all of a sudden the straight continues continues staying closed, oil skyrockets, everything goes out the window because everything goes up so expensive that the recession is guaranteed to hit. So oil above 100, guys, we talked about, it's really, really bad. Oil over 120 to 140, that's recession area. 140, 150, it's like a guaranteed recession. And we were super close to those levels. And the oil going up affects the airlines, affects staples, affects industrials. So every major bank right now is saying the same thing. If the Strait opens by June and oil drops back down to 80, the rally broadens and the rally will keep going. If it stays closed and oil does hit that 150 level, a recession is pretty much inevitable, guys. Oil at 150, a recession is coming. It's just coming.
It's just it's uninhabitable. Inhabitable, whatever the word is, right? Like you can't with today's work wage or medium work wage, you cannot keep up with that. You will sink.
Dude, how can I work an hour and 1 hour is like a gallon of gas? So bottom line on earnings, guys, is it's undeniably strong, but it's super concentrated. 84% of stocks beat earnings. There was 27% growth overall. New all-time highs on the S&P 500 and a lot of big names. But like I said, those 5 names that I just went over are responsible for 45% of the gains. If those 5 names go down with the rest of the market, the whole market sinks, right? Mm-hmm. So, history says bull markets in their 4th year have always delivered positive returns, but history also says that rallies this concentrated with oil above 100 and breadth below 50%, super fragile, right? Again, the Strait is going to resolve everything or destroy everything. This whole conflict is going to resolve everything or destroy everything. I think the powers that may be are going to keep playing into this conflict until they have the best positions that they want and maybe start on another rally. And then before this administration is out of office, they sell everything and cause a huge ass fucking dump. 2 more big things in the stock market are baby Palantir. Mm-hmm. Destroyed earnings more than any other company out there, just like last earnings, but the stock went down after hours. Earnings beat by 85%, guys. 85% year over year, and then they beat earnings by 18%. The net income quadrupled, guys. The net income went 4x.
We're going to burst.
To $870 million. The U.S. revenue grew 104%. The Rule of 40 score, you remember it was about 132 or 138, and we said it was the most impressive thing in the world. Like, only NVIDIA has done this and one other company. That number's at 145 now.
Yeah. I was like, you know who else just achieved the Rule of 40? BlackBerry.
BlackBerry?
Mm-hmm. BlackBerry's strong.
What? Did they?
Yeah. BlackBerry is strong.
I gotta look on that. Dude, and they got $8 billion cash on hand. They have 206 deals worth over $1 million plus still waiting to be closed. Revenue per employee is insane, $105 million. That means every person is responsible for basically $1.5 million of revenue. So Palantir is literally the AI infrastructure security play that literally keeps going. The government business spending with them is up dramatically. U.S. commercial spending is up 133%. Government spending is up 80%. And the strong is still at one of the most insane valuations in the entire stock market. It makes 0 sense, but the thing just keeps going. Keeps going. And then before I get into NVIDIA, I do want to talk about GameStop. You guys saw what's happening to GameStop?
But does this CEO think he's Mark Zuckerberg or something? Does he think he's fucking Jeff Bezos? He thinks he could throw around all this big dick money and
Did you see him get roasted on every stock?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, so how are you guys going to pay for it? Half stock, half cash. And they're like, okay, we get that, but your stock is valued at $11 billion and you guys have $8 billion in cash. eBay's $46 billion, and you guys said that you're going to pay $125 a share, which would bring the valuation to $56 billion. So how are you getting to this evaluation? The CEO's like, it's all on our website. It's half cash, half stock. Like, I don't understand the question. And then this girl interrupts like, it's a pretty easy question. He literally said, how are you guys going to come up with the money? Because the math doesn't add up. He goes, half stock, half cash. All the details are on our website. Jesus. So the math doesn't work because the deal is 50-50 cash and stock. So that means $27 billion on both sides. Your stock is worth 10 to 11 billion. You have 8 billion in cash. You're way under on both. So what does that mean, guys? It's a huge problem. That means GameStop has to issue enough stock, so they have $27 billion in stock. So they need to more than double their share amounts. So if they do that, that means anyone that owns GameStop shares would be diluted from 100% of their investment down to 30% of their investment. That's the only way they can produce enough shares to give it to eBay. But it still doesn't add up, because even if you do that with your shares and you dilute your shares and you screw everyone over holding GameStop, you still are left with $19 billion in cash in the hole.
I'm just, this bewilders me. One, GameStop is a fake company. Okay. It got resurrected because of a phenomenon that happened during whenever it happened, right? Mm-hmm. Number two, I mean, sure, they're making money with like Pokemon or whatever, or however else they make money.
Probably why they want to buy eBay.
Yeah, and three, they issued more stock to buy Bitcoin in the past. You remember that too, right?
Of course.
And they sold all that Bitcoin, I think, at a loss. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't hold any more Bitcoin anymore. I don't know. I got to double check that, but I do know they were getting rid of a majority of it. And I thought eBay was bigger than GameStop.
It is. That's what I'm saying is you're a $12 billion company trying to buy a $46 billion company, and then you raise the evaluation to 50 something billion because they offered a higher amount. So, but I will say though. So GameStop does have the $9 billion in cash, and then plus a $20 billion debt commitment that they got from TD Bank to give to eBay. But I guess it's one of the most like classified commitment debt documents that we've seen in a very, very long time. Now, this is not my area of expertise, and I'm not going to pretend it is. But I guess the information that they're filing and submitting is super, super, super confidential. So, again, I don't know how this works out for them. None of the math makes sense. We'll have to see what they say. But to create $27 billion in new stock, they have to double their total amount of shares. And then basically shareholders, like I said, would go from owning 100% to 30%. Of the company, because the rest would have to be for the eBay shareholders. So it's not really that GameStop is buying eBay in this scenario. It's more like eBay shareholders are kind of getting taken over, and the GameStop CEO is going to be the one that runs it if this goes through. Mind that with all that said, this is just what GameStop is saying. eBay hasn't confirmed any of this. eBay hasn't said, yes, we are working with GameStop. eBay hasn't said anything about this just yet.
Yeah.
And when this did announce, GameStop dropped 5%, but eBay pumped about 4%. So the market is just pricing, maybe this happens, maybe this doesn't.
I also want to retract my statement. GameStop did not sell their Bitcoin. When we talked about it back in January of them moving their Bitcoin to their exchange or onto Coinbase, looking like they were going to sell, they ended up never selling. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to say that.
And then, guys, the grand finale for the stock stuff is what I was talking about, NVIDIA, which we know last NVIDIA earnings, we talked about what happens on social media every time NVIDIA earnings come is all the memes, all the Pepe memes, all the memes of the NVIDIA CEO that the entire global market, the financial market, your entire portfolio is in the hands of the CEO in NVIDIA earnings. Well, it's true. So the single most important earnings of the quarter, it's NVIDIA, which is guided to have around $78 billion in revenue. And they're raising their CapEx spending as well. Just like every other hyperscaler has raised it. So all four of the hyperscalers, Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, all raise their CapEx budget. And what's crazy about Microsoft, Meta, Google, and Amazon NVIDIA their CapEx, that money is going into NVIDIA chips. So it does make me think that NVIDIA is going to run more. unless it gets priced in. But May 20th is the date. That either confirms the AI bull thesis or everything starts to wind down, and not in a good way, boys and girls, for the stock market. Not in a good way.
All right.
But I'm optimistic because of what I think is coming in crypto. I think crypto is telling us what's going to happen in the stock market. Sorry, Justin.
Yeah? Yeah. No, I was just going to say, we're going to get into crypto.
Yep.
Yeah. But we're going to do a quick, we don't have much time left, but we're going to cover the most important topic today, and it's, of course, the Clarity Act, right, guys? The Clarity Act, to me, and to a lot of people, passed a very important milestone within the Senate. So I'm going to read this off to you. Senator Tom Tillis and Angela Alsobrooks released the final stablecoin yield compromise text Friday night. Keep in mind, guys, stablecoin yield was like the main argument that banks and crypto institutions were arguing over for the longest time in this. This is why this thing hasn't moved forward. This is why this thing hasn't passed. So the latest change, stablecoin issuers and digital asset platforms cannot offer yield, interest, or any return simply for holding a stablecoin. This is a big win for the banks, obviously. Does this suck on the crypto side? Yeah, I mean, kind of. Because now you have to lock up your coins, right? You're going to have to. But activity-based rewards tied to transactions, platform use, loyalty programs, and real participation are still okay. So just like what I said, when you have to physically probably lock up your tokens or do some kind of liquid staking or something like that.
Staking for the network is still valid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be really spending stable coins that you're earning yield on anyways, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get what they're saying though, and I get the big fight, right? Because it's the same thing as having dollars in your bank account or dollars in stable coins, and that's what the fight is.
Yeah.
Because now if you guys have high yield savings accounts that a lot of these banks do offer, they do offer based on what the market interest rate is. I remember a year ago I was getting 5% in my savings. Now it's dropped down to 4.3% because the rates have also dropped down.
Yeah.
But that's in line with the stable coins.
Wait, so but what's the deal with that? That's just your money's just sitting there and it earns interest, right? You could withdraw at any time.
Right.
So how's that any different from a stable coin sitting in your wallet and earning interest?
Because the banks aren't earning interest.
Yeah. See?
So the big dogs are saying, nah.
I think, Brian, guys, if you know Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, he's kind of been spearheading the whole Clarity Act thing, by the way. He's kind of the main figure of getting this thing passed or not passed or whatever. And, I just, I don't want to say submit, but I think he just they just came out of stance. They're whatever. So he's for it. They've came to conclusion they're for it. But yeah, I think this bill is going to pass within this year.
Yeah. Polymarket odds are up 20%. Polymarket odds are up 20 points, not 20%, 20 points to 65% that the Clarity Act passes. So let's pass. Like I said, if this thing passes, the bottom is in crypto.
Yeah.
Do we want to speed round the other things real quick? 60 seconds if we can?
Yeah, we can. Guys, who would I kind of wanted to touch on this too, but Tether turns out to be probably the best stable coin out there. Mm-hmm. They've turned into one hell of a company. They have, let me just read this off to you guys. This is actually kind of outstanding because if you guys don't remember, 4 or 5 years ago, there was this whole series on how Tether's this huge fraud about to collapse. It's not backed by anything.
The Evergrande
fiasco. Evergrande thing that and this money is just it's literally not backed by anything sound. It's all just recycled money being distributed out 5 times over and nothing really behind it. Well, it turns out they're very liquid. And they could definitely back their stablecoin up 101 for sure. They're definitely, in my opinion, Genius Act compliant. Anyways, they brought in $1.4 billion in net profit for the quarter and excess and excess reserves climbed to a record $8.23 billion, the highest in the company's history. Total assets came in at $191.77 billion against $183.54 billion in liabilities, with $141 billion of that in reserve, like U.S. Treasury based, bonds. So again, they have $141 billion in Treasury bonds, of U.S. Treasury bonds, basically United States debt, and then the rest they have it allocated throughout, whether it be physical gold, Bitcoin, or some other kind of safe haven asset, as we like to call them, right? But yeah, I mean, they're really sound. I'm gonna admit they're a pretty sound. Like Tether's probably one of the most sound stable coins out there, by far. And they do like really routine, comprehensive audits of from third parties. So there's no like dog in the fight, so to speak. And yeah, I just they're the top dog. But yeah,
I'm gonna fire off a quick round ski. God, that World Liberty fucking crypto scam piece of shit. Anyway, real quick, guys, we all have talked about that crypto is going to be the money for AI agents. MoonPay just gave AI agents their own credit card, which is backed by crypto. So if you got the crypto, you can have your agents do your purchases for you, do all that stuff for you. Another DeFi protocol was exploited and drained of $4.5 billion. This was on the Kelp DAO. We are seeing a lot of exploits in DAOs, but also DAOs running. Like we've seen, we just saw that Rave DAO rug happen that pumped up. If you played the pump, it was crazy money. It went from like $1 to $28 and right back down to 20 cents.
Yeah, I'm starting to think all these DeFi protocols just use the same code, just like the same whatever contract functionality just to get up and running and and that's it. And it's starting to unravel. So guys, I would be very careful if you're keeping your money in DeFi protocols right now. Unless it's like something very rigid, like a hyperliquid, right? I mean, you're probably happy seeing this. Wasabi, that was like one of Blast's first DeFi protocols, like Blast Network.
Oh, I was like Blaster?
No. Wasabi. But yeah, they just got drained for $4.5 million. I'm surprised Wasabi was still a thing, to be honest. But yeah, and guys, you're starting to see me pop up in the chat a lot more in the crypto chat, giving my take on coins. There's some coins in the past I'm still a fan of, but and it's all for good reason. For example, like I pointed out token Pump today, right? I don't think meme coins are going anywhere, but Pump is the ecosystem token for Pump Fund, and I don't think Pump Fund's going to go anywhere anytime soon either. They're going to remain the number one launch pad for these meme coins. Screw the meme coins, invest into the ecosystem, as I say, right? And that's the Pump token. Pengu, I think Luca Nets is still one of the top leaders in this space, and I don't think he's going to be giving up anytime soon either. So Pengu and Pump are kind of like my risky altcoin picks. And then, dude, I mean, obviously you can't go wrong with Doge, Chainlink being the main provider for the data streams for U.S. equities. When they go on chain, let's all make it make sense, guys. Hyperliquids, right? The hyperliquids, lighters. These are alts and memes that I like. And I'm keeping it simple. I'm keeping my list short like that. I still think Pump and Pengu are still at their bottoms, to be honest, if you're interested in long-term holds. But yeah, that's all we got for crypto, right?
Yep. And then last but not least, this is just a little thing. We knew Justin's son was suing World Liberty Financial. World Liberty Financial said, we're going to sue you back. So they're still beefing and queefing. Who cares?
Beefing and queefing. Yep. Oh, that's not true. This is not true. Yada, 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 yada.
Yep. I just sent out one more trade, guys. Guys, that's 4 trades out. Let's fucking hit these PTs. Shit's pumping. Let's get the bull market back. That's all we got for you guys on this episode. Last but not least, guys, I literally just finished filming like 14 courses on Friday. So stay tuned for everyone. They're going to be lit. That's all, guys. Thank you, everyone. Take care.